Yeah, so yesterday on your show, you said that Green Bay or Houston is bound to have a letdown season. So which team are you going to lean towards, and what will influence your decision on that?
So I don't know yet, but I just know that those two. So let's go back 2 years ago. Okay? 2 years ago, the two teams that I guess we got to go back 3 years ago, but just follow me. 3 years ago, the Lions and Jags were bad teams. But one of them changed, they both changed quarterbacks, they changed coaches, and there was, that's what the franchise had hope for. But then those seasons, they won like 2 or 3 games each of them. Maybe the Lions won 4. The Jags obviously fire their coach. The Lions don't. And the next year, those two teams kind of came out of nowhere. Both came on strong at the end of the season. The Lions end up winning their final game of the year against Green Bay, but still missing the playoffs. The Jags surge into the playoffs, win a playoff game. That was them 2 years ago. And both of them came into last season as trendy, popular picks. The Lions and the Jags. Young quarterback in Jacksonville, kind of quarterback on a second chance, not necessarily young in Detroit, but both of those teams were the trendy. They were too popular to even be called sleepers. People really believed in them. And one of them lived up to all those expectations in Detroit. The first game of the year against Kansas City, they were, put in marquee spots, got to the NFC Championship game. The other one, the Jags, ended up, I think because Trevor got hurt, but whatever, having a very disappointing season, falling short of expectations. The reason I tell that story is the the Jags Lions last year remind me a lot, even because they're both from the NFC North and the AFC South, of the Packers Texans this year. Teams that 2 years ago we would have thought were, in the kind of no man's land, rebuilding, figuring it out. Last year, both came on very strong at the end of the year, played their best football after not being very good early in the year, at the end of the year, won playoff games, and both of them are considered kind of fringe Super Bowl contenders this year. I'm here to tell you, NFL history tells us one of those two teams is going to disappoint. Because progression in this league is not linear. It's not the NBA, where it's like you're awful. You get to 500. You finally make the playoffs. You finally go on a playoff run. And then you can win a championship. In the NFL, progression is more like you go up, take a couple steps back, go up again, step back. That's how it is historically for players and for teams. And for the Packers and Texans,
for these two teams, would they just be missing the playoffs entirely?
Yes, exactly. I just think one of these teams, I think these two teams are a little too trendy, and we are a little too focused on the last thing we saw from them rather than the entirety of what we saw from them. The Packers are considered, have a lot of hype for a team that through 15 weeks last year was 6-8. 6-8. And then they win their final 3 games. They blow out the Cowboys. They're in great position in round 2, or seemingly great position, and then lose. And now everyone believes in them. The Texans are going for it. Adding Diggs, adding Danielle Hunter, adding Joe Mixon. And I get that and I respect it. My point, where I am willing, and we'll see when we come back from vacation and we do our official picks and predictions and bets, all of that, which of these two teams I land on. The point I'm making, DeMonte, is if NFL history is our guide, one of these two teams is going to fall woefully short of expectations. And I right now am leaning. I think the Texans are better than the Packers, but I think the Texans are more likely to be the team that deals with that, because I think the Texans, the Packers don't have to deal with a first place schedule. The Texans do. The Texans are in the AFC, and as much as I like CJ and D'Amico, the Texans this year, while the schedule starts off relatively soft, the end of the year I think is brutal, and I could see this going sideways on them, but I'm not sure, because I think CJ's awesome, and I love their receiver core, and there's a lot to like about the team.
And they got Diggs in the locker room as well now. Who knows what that might affect or might not affect.
That could be correct, and that could be combustible. So we'll see. Right. I think there is, this time of year, nobody wants to pick an actual sleeper. They want to pick a team that is a trendy pick and call it a sleeper. Like, this would not be my pick, but an actual sleeper would be, I think Seattle is going to be dangerous. I think Washington is going to be dangerous. I think the Raiders are going to be dangerous. That's an actual sleeper. The Packers and Texans are a couple standard deviations away from sleeper. They are trendy picks. All right, let's go to the
sleeper
holdout.
Super Bowl
go ahead
team.
If you want to say something.
I
don't think they're a sleeper Super Bowl team. I think they're by the odds, I think they're a fringe Super Bowl team, but maybe I'm wrong. Hey, thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to get more from the show, and make sure to click the bell to get notified every time new content drops. Check out full episodes of What's Right wherever you get your podcasts, or just click the link in the description below.